but we have life. So we are able to make our own intelligence. Okay.
We're back on a path.
So we return to the path of the conversation.
Yes.
Okay, so what was we talking about?
I don't know.
No, I almost remember.
Oh, we were talking about
evolution
what
and how religion, what kind of function religion had. So like we had these hunting gathering societies, right? And how we usually modulated our goals is based on our physiological needs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you need for hunger, you immediately go hunt. Need for sex, whatever. But then later on, when the societies started to agglomerate into like very big communities, and you no longer needed to go on with the physiological like base goals and guide your action based on your physiological needs. Like for instance, because now you can trade, right? Or you can...
Because there came a point in human evolution when basic physiological needs, which is the first tier of the hierarchy of needs, were intrinsically taken care of.
Yeah.
You were probably okay, so your mind was free to dwell on higher worries.
Or there's other ways that they need to be taken care of.
Yeah.
For instance, you no longer need to go out and hunt. You need to go have animals grazing, or you have fields and you have crops.
But you do need something to make you feel like your life has purpose.
But the problem is that you need to have a completely different way of thought, because you no longer need to.
Made a wrong turn.
Where are we?
This is a good physical revisitation of the original concepts by turning around and changing the way I So continue, we're talking about the evolution of religion as a social infrastructure.
Yeah. So, once our society changed into this larger communities, the way we think needed to change. We no longer needed to actually react on how our body feels. We actually needed to create other goals that needed to regulate our behavior. So instead of I hate this. I see this person as like a hostility to me. I'm gonna behave out on it right away. That's that's not acceptable.
Yeah.
You just the society gonna kill you off just like that. And that's actually why the evolution allowed things like religion, because what religion is basically a set of goals that are reinforced by this entity that you just created, which is God.
Or just a religious cosmological
it's just that there's something else that's guiding your action, and it's like an external thing. You just actually have all these goals that start guiding your behavior otherwise. And the people who cannot take this religion and use this other thing to a god self-regulate were obviously could not survive in that society.
Oh yeah, or they're gonna be killed off as witches.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah.
Because of religions, they have a problem with people, non-believers.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be the true test of whether or not somebody's faith is based on a level of personal experience and truth, is how quickly they are ready to fight to save it.
The enemy of any faith-based religion has always been the notion of free inquiry and freedom of thought, because to question religious doctrines is to punch holes in them, is to remove their power, and religion must remain absolute and unquestioned in order to thrive.
However, spiritual philosophy are necessary languages to build so that we can have a better understanding of how connection to the divine, which is obviously my personal perspective, that there is a divine to be communicating with, but I don't necessarily mean a monotheistic sort of, paternalistic concept of God so much as, an essence of life by which we interact with simply by being alive and aware.
And the reason I wouldn't call it a religious belief is because there's no submission to something higher than you. What you're talking about is something intrinsically internal.
Well, yes, everything is intrinsically internal as well as external at the same time, right? But I don't think, I wouldn't shy away from the term religion, right? Because when I hear the term religion these days, it used to make me shy away because I thought of social infrastructure, I thought of limited belief systems, I thought of, basically arrogant assholes You know, I thought of, you know, like under-evolved children is what I thought of. But that's not the case, you know. Yes, to a degree, it is often shown to be the case. But when I hear the term religion now, I think, well, you say religious because you're talking about the idea of what a religion would be about, which is a god or a divine. Where to me, I see that there are religious aspects in my belief because I do have, not belief, but my observations of my universe, right? Because I do see that there's a divine that I'm interacting with. But I like to see that I have an investigation, a process of investigation into a variety of different spiritual philosophies which provide like a language by which I can explain to myself, you know, Andrew, you were saying earlier the idea of like saying out and then getting it back helps you understand it. So I get these externalized languages by which I can explain to myself my own experience of this, share it with others.
That's exactly what it means. It seems like religion was actually an important factor in creating a system in your head, or a sort of language that you can work with, so you can represent goals that are as if they're and beliefs that are external of yourself. But that's why today you don't actually need religion, because you have enough capacity that, by the way, religion probably provided for you. That's why.
Well, we don't need the religious infrastructure anymore. Yeah. At least some of us don't.
But I'm saying that it was completely essential in our evolution. You would not be able to have thoughts you have right now.
I totally agree.
And stuff like that if it wasn't for religion.
Religious infrastructure also, in the days that, you know, predated modern scientific discovery, offered people a comfort in an explanation of things that were vastly unknown.
Yeah.
Well, just like any cosmology, it was a scientific
so scientific growth intrinsically obsoletes the need for religion to explain anything in an outside of the natural world sense.
That's a very valid point that you just made, but totally the exact opposite of what I was going to say, and I'm glad you took the words out of my mouth, because what I was going to say...
Please make the counterpoint then.
No, it wasn't the counterpoint. I was already thinking to myself, like, don't say that, man. Like, that's going to offend you.
No, nothing will offend me.
No, it was going to offend myself.
Oh, no.
I know better how to use words.
I hope I didn't offend you.
No, you did not. There was no offense here.
Good.
Brother.
Only love.
Brother. Welcome.
Only love.